So now let's talk about the second force at play, the fear for their own roles. NHS managers, NHS leaders, when change comes, the first thing they think about is what's going to happen to them. And that's a natural human instinct. Great leaders think about others, but normally, when you're in an aeroplane, people say, put your life jacket on first, pull your oxygen mask on first before you begin to help others. Standard life support. But this is something that normally happens by instinct. It's a bit more sensitive, and we often talk about leadership being a duty, strategy, leading by example and vision. But the analogy I gave you on the aeroplane, when a crisis happens, generally that's what happens. And rarely do we talk about it for the very human fear sitting beneath the surface of what we're discussing. It's the fear of being moved on, moved out, ostracized. But it's their own roles. Sometimes it's not about the role. Sometimes it's about the person. They can, it becomes a personal issue. They have the difficulty in disconnecting the role from the person. Is there nepotism? Is there some form of, favoritism? But with ongoing restructures and mergers, and right now, as we're speaking in 2025, there's been a suggestion that the NHS England setup will be reconfigured. But all of these things with otherwise the ICS will be reshuffled at that, and that will have an effect on the provider services. But these are budget-driven service decisions. Many senior leaders are going to be facing the looming risk of redundancy or TUPE, transfer under the protection of employment. But even that's a dirty word now. And even if it's not on paper today, they know pretty much it's going to be at some point in the future. Do they get out? Do they jump ship? Do they continue to work to the best of their ability? Absolutely not. Do they look for another job? Probably yes. But ultimately, they're not going to be giving their best to the job. So when the environment, as we kind of like think about it, if the environment is shaky, if the job is shaky, what's the performance going to be like? And then it's not even surprising that some protectionism or favoritism might take root in that situation. And that's where we have a very ethical cliff edge. But let's be honest, when people are protecting their own roles, they may start protecting people that they are friendly with as well. We see the same voices getting promoted. We see the same trusted invisible individuals being brought into projects, and the same inner circles reinforced. So when it's time to restructure, you will see the same forms of nepotism at play. And this is not conducive to a healthy NHS. But it's not always conscious, you see. So under stress, we kind of defer as human beings to things we're safe with, things we're comfortable with. That's the hard line. That's a hard line to walk about being fair and being safe. There's two issues to any political discussion. There's the issue of safety and the issue of freedom. And if you're free to move and do things your own way, great. But when you're not, you err to the side of caution. You err towards safety. And this matters because if leadership becomes about job retention rather than systematic transformation or innovation, diversity of thought is it's not even going to be there. People won't bring their ideas. Leaders won't be decisive. And then those brave enough to do it are normally frozen out because that innovation might make an efficiency, which might shave 10% off a budget, which the system will then see as certain jobs are not available, not necessary, not needed. If you had a magical kind of a robot that could do the job of 2 other staff, then you'll employ the robot, and that robot could work 24/7. It's like with data entry, for example, when that came along, and then people automated it from screen scraping and then adding that into data points, not in the NHS but elsewhere. We find that massive amount of jobs were deleted. They became obsolete. So by doing this, you're going to find always that people are going to be fearful of their own roles. But if we can't talk about it honestly, you're going to keep distracting with other issues, decision making is going to be distorted from the top down.